Welcome to Reddit Blue Pill Red Pill, where we go over Reddit stories and predict the outcome of the stories. Please listen and play along by typing in your choices into the comments. There are 5 seconds to answer, or you can pause the video. Today we have a story about a son who needed therapy to get along with his new family. Alright, let's get on to the story. My dad died because of a seizure when I was 17, male, was 6. My mom and I were there for the whole thing, and it was traumatic. Mom started dating again a year later, but she didn't meet her husband until I was 9. They dated for something like 5 months before they started doing stuff with me and his kids. I struggled hard with him and his kids' presence. For me, the hardest parts were changing things so that we had time for them and including them in the family. It bothered me worse when Mom wanted my paternal relatives to get to know them and treat his kids like they were more grandkids and cousins. The OP is 17 and lost his father when he was very young. His mother met her new future husband 3 years after, and she began to introduce the OP to him and his kids. The OP was resentful of this, especially when his mother would also include her partner's kids into the lives of his father's family. I guess he wanted that side of the family all to himself, and was resentful new kids who were not blood related were coming in between him and them. But he was very young after all, only 9 or 10 at the time, so it's only natural that he would feel resentment and apprehension to a new paternal figure in his life. I understand that his mother saw this new partner as someone who had potential to turn into something serious and wanted the OP to begin having a relationship with him and his kids. But was the mother too pushy and too eager and didn't really check if the OP was emotionally ready for all this? What do you think? If you think the mother did the right thing by trying to include her new partner and his kids into the OP's life, type Q1 blue in the comments. If you think the mother was too forceful to include them into their lives, type Q1 red. For me, that showed in really weird ways. I wasn't sleeping good and having bad dreams. I was losing focus in school, and after a while, I would puke whenever we were supposed to spend time with them. It wasn't intentional either, but I would get so worked up I'd puke a ton. My mom talked to me about it, and I got mad about her letting them take over our life, and I told her I hated how much we saw them, and I didn't want that, and they weren't my family, and they needed to stay away from Dad's family and stuff like that. Mom walked away and didn't address it for weeks. I don't know how long it was exactly, but she was distant for weeks, and then she said she had decided to send me to a therapist. The OP began to lash out at his mother and expressed how he did not want this new family to be included into the family he had while his father was alive. The OP was obviously resentful of his mother including these new people into their family. Perhaps his mother was too pushy when it came to including the OP into the lives of her new partner and his kids, but how else is he going to develop a relationship with them? If the OP had his way, his mother would have ended her relationship with this new man and just returned to being the two of them. But is this fair to his mother? It had been a few years at this point since the OP's biological father died, so how much longer does his mother have to wait before the OP is ready to let her start a new relationship? Of course, the OP was a child by this point, so he didn't really have full understanding of his emotions or his thought process, but his mother is trying to do all the right things to get the OP on board with her new relationship. His mother must have taken this very hard because she became distant with the OP for weeks afterwards. I wonder if this was because she was angry at the OP or if she genuinely did not know what to do and what to say to the OP. But eventually she decided to send the OP to a therapist. What do you think of this move? If you agree the OP needs to see a therapist, type Q2 blue in the comments. If you think therapy will not work if the OP is this closed off, type Q2 red. I did a few sessions alone with the therapist, and she included my mom in 2 and then went back to just me. She spoke to Mom a few times and gave me a heads up in advance and asked if it was okay to share things I had said. I was fine with that, so she went ahead and did that. Over 2 years, I talked about a lot of stuff with the therapist and with my mom. I did different kinds of homework, and eventually Mom moved in with her husband and married him. She stopped trying to involve my step-siblings in my dad's family, and I stopped resenting them existing in our space at all. We are now 2 years further when the OP must have been mid-teens. Therapy helped and he grew to accept his mother's new partner and his step-siblings. However, I can't help but notice how he referred to his mother's husband. He referred him as her husband, not his stepfather. He did refer to his kids as his step-siblings, so at least there is improvement in that area. But while things have improved, there is still more work to do when it comes to the OP building a relationship with his mother's new husband. By this time, the OP must have known this man for around 5 years, so he has been involved in his life for a good while by this time. Shouldn't the OP be calling his mother's husband as his stepfather by this point? This doesn't take away from the memory of his biological father, but her mother's new husband has been a father figure to him for 5 years by now and deserves respect. What do you think? Do you think this is a temporary issue and the OP will eventually accept this new man as his stepfather? If so, type Q3 blue in the comments. If you think the OP will always just refer to this man as his mother's husband only, type Q3 red. Mom agreed to doing one-on-one time with me and doing things to remember Dad on his birthday and Father's Day, but she never did those things. I agreed to spend time with her husband's kids to try and get along better, and I did for a while, but I stopped after a few months. Those things meant we lived together without fighting, but we didn't blend either. I accepted her husband and his kids were with us now and technically a part of the family, but I didn't work on developing relationships with them individually. For the last 2 years, my mom has been open about resenting me because I needed therapy. She said she feels like it was a waste of time because we never blended, but she admits to resenting me for not just being happy for her and being an easy kid who is happy to have more family and embraced it without the added stress. I ignored her when she said those things for a long time because her side of the family would address them and remind her I wasn't her, and as a parent, it was her job to make sure I was doing okay.
It seemed I was wrong, and the OP did not fully accept her mother's husband's kids as his step-siblings. He calls them that, but they are not really treated in that way by him. They all live together, but the OP has made no attempts to build a relationship with any of them. They live as roommates, but honestly, roommates would have a better relationship than the relationship the OP has with them. But he was still a little kid then, in his mid-teens, so in the end, it is the adults who have to bridge the gap. But his mother seemed to give up as well. She didn't really do things just with him and didn't do special things in memory of her late husband, which the OP had asked of her to do. Since she never gave an honest attempt at these things, then the OP never felt like he needed to attempt to connect with the new family that he was now living with. His mother began to openly express her frustrations with the OP and how he had made it hard for her to move on with this new relationship and had not blended at all with them. She had hoped he would be happy to have a new family and a new father figure in his life, but obviously that didn't happen. But was this a realistic demand to begin with? How many kids immediately accept a new person with their own family into their lives without any friction? But if the new husband has truly tried to be included into the OP's life, then what else could he have done? The OP hasn't stated how the new husband or his kids are bad in any way. He doesn't say her husband argues with him or his kids hate him or anything of the sort. What do you think? If you think the mother and her new husband have done what they should have to make the OP comfortable, type Q4 blue in the comments. If you think the OP's needs has not been sufficiently attended to by his mother, type Q4 red.
The other night, she got really resentful after one of her husband's kids said something about not really knowing me. My mom asked me what she did to deserve the difficult kid and the kid who needed therapy and couldn't be happy that his mom found love again. She told me I delayed her relationship because she had to do the right thing, and it didn't matter anyway because I stopped giving them a chance. I told her she broke her promises to spend one-on-one time with me and make time for us to remember Dad. She told me those were very different things and I was making excuses. I told her it was her job to help her kid and that resenting me for needing that help is shit, and to still resent me for it is even shittier. Mom told me that wasn't supposed to be my reaction and I'm supposed to feel bad for the stress I caused her and the delays to her finding happiness again. Am I the a-hole?
This problem is not going away, and the mother still brings up the fact that she resents the OP for the difficulties he had put her through. I think the mother is being too harsh here, and bringing up the same subject over and over is only going to make things worse.
The OP says he's also resentful that his mother never kept her promises to have one-on-one time with him and never honoring his late father. But does that mean the OP deliberately avoided blending in with her new husband and his kids as payback for his mother not keeping her promise? Or did he do this subconsciously and did not deliberately set to sabotage his mother's new relationship? In the end, the OP and his mother never resolved their issues and just lived as roommates. We have come to the conclusion of this story and must decide who is the a-hole. If you think the OP is the a-hole for never trying to blend in with his new family, type Q5 red in the comments. If you think his mother is the a-hole for breaking her promises and not creating a safe space for the OP to connect with his new family, type Q5 blue. Now let's listen to a few comments.
Not the a-hole. And the last paragraph made your mom one of the shittest people alive. You weren't supposed to react like that. You were supposed to feel bad. Guilt tripping level 1000. Holy shit, that is manipulative as f. All the other people here, including you and her side of the family, are right. She had a job and she f***ed up. And that's only on her and no one else. I hope you can distance yourself and move out there as soon as possible. I wouldn't want to live with a person like that.
Not the a-hole. Your mom is not only the AH, but she is very selfish and delusional. You are the kid. She, as the parent, should have been the one to be more understanding of your feelings and not rushing into things. You can blend with your stepfamily, but you can also keep your father's memory alive. I am so sorry your mom has not been more supportive of you. Once you turn 18, I would distance myself from your mom until she can grow up. Why does her happiness and feelings matter than his own child? It's not fair. Good luck.
I'm so sorry for you not having a mom to protect you and having to lose your dad that way on top of Askavit. The pretending nothing happened by a parent is so detrimental, and it sounds like she's still doing it now. You don't need that. Just remember, you can't make her see the truth if she rather see the fantasy. And also remember, it's not your fault if others and yourself call her out on the fantasy and she gets mad at you for speaking the truth. Seeking the truth. I would just move on and give her space. If she chooses to not pursue a real relationship with you, that's her decision. But you need people in your life that aren't going to cause you such pain. I'm sure it was traumatic for her too, but you lost your dad and your mom is acting like she is the child and you the adult, which is a clear indication she is very emotionally immature. As your mother, she should be looking out for your needs, not the other way around. I added a link above to a short article about emotionally immature parents, but you could look up some more online, and there's also a great book called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. You don't have to read it now, of course, but at some point in the future, reading about the subject might be helpful for you, if only to remind yourself that none of this is on you, and you did nothing wrong. Never doubt that.
Not the a-hole. Ask your mom if she's the only one allowed to find happiness. She chose her new husband. You didn't. She is selfish and wrong. Talk to your father's family. Ask them if they can take you in. He'll ask your mother's family also. You also deserve to be happy. Send your mother this post. Ask her to give her reasons for rejecting the therapist deal. Why can she just blow it off, but you must blend for her happiness? What about your happiness? You didn't cause the stress. She did by not following the suggestions and agreements you made with your therapist. She ignored professional advice. She didn't help you work through your feelings. She caused herself stress.
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching all the way to the end and participating. Please consider liking and subscribing to watch future videos. Goodbye.